What's up, everybody? This is Talking with Burritos. On this episode, we're taking a flashback all the way to July of 2014 for Adaptations Part 2, an episode we started just looking at how adaptations of books come about and our dislikes and our likes about them. So you guys enjoy this archive episode of Talking with Burritos. Okay, all right then. Welcome to Talking with Burritos. I'm Jerry.
This is Rupal.
This is Josh.
And Bree.
We're going to call it something differently. Fuck you, Chris. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about I Am Legend and the many, I guess we could say many different adaptations thereof. And, did they get it right or didn't they? Or when did they get it right? So I guess we can start out first with the book.
Of course.
Yeah. So would you...
Rupal, did you get a chance to read it?
Yeah, he read it.
I get to read it. Yes, I finished it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, right?
Oh my god, so freaking good. And you know what? My version's better than your version because it came out before the movie with Will Smith. So it doesn't have the movie cover.
I took a picture of that that board that I wrote it on when you said, just remind me to talk about that damn image with the book cover. Let's go into that first and foremost. It's a little sidebar, but I'm a little pissed about that too because I see it all the fucking time.
So much.
Like, you see a book. Like the movie comes out, but then all of a sudden the book just changes fucking covers.
Yep. Right.
It's like, really, I don't need that damn cover. I don't want to see Will Smith on the I Am Legend book. I just want to see I don't even know what the original looks like. Does anyone know what the original?
There's just so many
An original
different
printing, it's probably just
a cover.
It's
Yeah.
design.
Yeah, that works for me though.
I've seen other ones like doesn't the one you have. It's just
Mine
like
is
it's
like
like
these
a drawings of a bunch of
vampire-like
vampires.
See?
Yeah.
It's not Will Smith, so it would have been cool.
I was
So
about to say.
why doesn't that? Is it just advertising for the movie?
Yes.
That's all we're doing. Like even with the Twilight books, they just had Eclipse or New Moon on it and shit like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have fucking Kristen Stewart and Everett on that bitch. No, wait, no, they didn't.
I was gonna say
They did the symbols.
No,
I mean, no,
they did the app.
no, when the movies came out,
Yeah.
the original books was just black,
Just the black
and then they
ones.
had like
hand with an apple.
Yes.
There's a ribbon.
And then the
Chessboard
chess
isn't
piece,
there?
yeah.
Or is there
there's a
different one?
chessboard, yeah.
Yep.
So very simplistic but very beautiful.
Yeah.
But then you fuck it up when the movie comes out. Like, look, we gotta put
faces
freaking what's his name
Got
on
what
it?
sparkle face over there.
Edward and Wolf Boy. Whatever you want to
Kissing.
fucking call his name, shit like that. So
There's
all
a
right,
lot.
Josh.
But yeah, no, it's because they're basically saying like, hey, you wouldn't have read this if it wasn't for the fact that there's a movie.
Yeah.
It's like they don't trust the American going audience. Like even if they do want to go back and read the book, which I've always said is that's what I think a good adaptation is for. Is if the movie's good, it should make you want to go read the source material. But people are still dumb enough that apparently they won't be able to find I Am Legend in a bookstore unless it's got Will Smith's face on it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
They can't find the help unless it has the freaking poster of the help on it.
Yes, I know. Yeah, it became the poster, didn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
You know what? This is actually a really recent one. I picked up Rosemary's Baby on my Kindle because it was on sale for like $2. I'm like, hell yeah! And it's like they're making a mini series, and I'm thinking,
Did they put the mini?
yeah, they put the mini series on there. I believe.
Fuck
Yeah.
you. Seriously?
I'm pretty sure
that
that's
is
what it is.
stupid. It's a mini series. It's
Yeah.
not a motion
I
picture.
know.
Apparently, that's just horrible.
Everything needs a mini series also with horror stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
But that's very.
They didn't change under the dome yet. I don't think. I think it's still
though.
is that just big dome around a small town.
I think Stephen King books are the exception.
You think so? I think so.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
They never really changed them put
Yeah.
like people on the miniseries because most of his
Yeah.
are miniseries instead of like movies. He's that recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They
I've
really
never.
do need to make the same
It's.
one too.
I don't think I've ever seen a single Stephen King book cover that is from like made from the TV or from the remember it from TV or remember the movie.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm trying to think like Christina Pet Cemetery. No.
No. My Pet Cemetery is like after the movie, and it's a Pet Cemetery cover.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cujo. I've seen Cujo,
Yeah.
plenty of Cujos.
That's interesting, man. So it's like, and I think Interview with a Vampire. Nope. That had
it's
vampire.
still
That had
Yeah.
Brad Pitt on it. Yeah, I remember that. Oh,
it's worse when it fucks your shit up too. Because I have a box set that's The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings that I got when I was like I got it when I was like 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's very nice. It's just nice little calligraphy artwork on the front for each one, and it's, very old school looking and stuff like that. But somewhere along the line, I lost my copy of Fellowship of the Ring. I fucking Barnes and Noble to get a new copy. And
just the Elijah one.
And yeah, so now I have these 3 books that are all tall and thin, that are all white and have very nice artwork on them and stuff like that. And one that's a short, squat paperback with Elijah Wood's face on it.
You can't call that a set now, bitch. You gotta either get the entire set like the one that you have that you bought for with what's his name, face Elijah Wood on it, or go on eBay and try to search for them beat up copy or something, or yard sale. I don't know. Somebody was selling.
I was about to say, I found a Return of the Jedi book from a yard sale, but someone took a crayon to it, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. But that wasn't a fucking novel before and shit like that. That was a novel after.
Yeah.
Was it? Did it change?
I never got to read it. Well, I didn't really get to read it because someone colored in it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I thought you just meant on the cover and shit.
No, they took a crayon.
Gonna color Han Solo green.
You're a Greedo now.
Yeah, that just sucks, man. Yeah, I agree with you. I forgot what book I bought. It was, like the Catching Fires and stuff recently.
Yeah, they all have
and all that. Is it different? No, they're not the symbols. Yeah, they're very simple.
Now
very
simplistic on them, right?
And now you have like Jennifer Lawrence and Peter and fucking
really
Gale
sad,
and what's his name? Yeah, the symbols are fine. They were but Insurgent. Did they do that? Did they do that with Divergent?
I'm sure they
do
do.
with
Yes, they did. Yeah, because it's the cover of...
Yeah, so in other words, it's just horrible. And they did it with this book, this I Am Legend copy that Josh handed to me, and it sucked. But the book was still, the content is still good, right? It's still what it is.
For any listening who may not have read the book was written in 54? 56?
54, 56.
54 or 56 by Richard Matheson. It's basically one of the first post-apocalyptic monster stories ever. It's the precursor to the Romero Night of the Living Dead. He even states that it was a major influence for Night of the Living Dead, and so it helped formulate the modern zombie movie genre. Even though the book itself is actually about vampires. It's a last man on Earth kind of thing, where it's a dude who's living through the vampire apocalypse, and every night the vampires come and try and get into his house. And he spends years alone as an isolated hermit trying to figure out what caused the vampires and why these certain things work to kill them and all kinds of stuff like that. And he's
questioning everything,
the science of it, the superstition of it, like what scientific possibility could there possibly be that they don't like mirrors? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And he eventually, by the end, he's formulated all these theories that make logical sense through flashbacks of his things he remembers. And basically, so he goes and he spends his life as a hermit surrounded by monsters, and then the book's been out for 50 years and there's been 3 movies. So fuck you, spoilers. He basically
There's a statute of limitation on spoilers.
Yeah. He basically, as it rolls out to the end, he discovers that he's not alone anymore. He meets a woman, and she basically sucker punches him, and he finds out that the vampires are the new society now, and to them he's the new monster because he's the thing that comes in while they're sleeping and kills them in their beds, and he's the thing their kids tell nightmare stories about and shit like that. So the title of the book, I Am Legend, it comes from as he's been dragged into their public square for execution. He quietly accepts that this has to happen because he's not the normal anymore. They're the normal, and he's the monster. And he quietly admits to himself, "I get it now. I am Legend."
Perfect fucking ending to a story.
Right before they execute him.
Yep.
Well, it's been made into a movie 3 times. It was made in the 60s with Vincent Price called Last Man on Earth. It was remade in the 70s with Chuck Heston as the Omega Man, and then most recently redone in 2008 with Will Smith as I Am Legend.
Big Willie Snell. You're going to be saying stuff like that, sorry.
What was fascinating about this as an adaptation is the fact that it's been done 3 times, and each one of them gets certain elements incredibly right. But every single one of them misses the entire point of the story. They always come up with some different ending where he doesn't admit that he's the monster.
Yeah, he doesn't accept it. Yeah.
He doesn't admit that he's the monster, and that's why he's Legend. The most grievous of which to me is probably the newest one, the Will Smith one.
Hate the end of that
Because in the
so
end of that, he's discovered this cure and it saves humanity, but he dies in the process, and that's why he's legend. And I watched that and I was like, table flip.
And he only dies in that version that you saw on screen because the fucking original version sucks. That's actually alternate ending. And if you guys have the DVD, and you know what they tested at first. They tested the scene where he finds out the cure. He revives that vampire's girlfriend, wife, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because that's what he was after.
Yeah.
That's why he was after Will Smith, because he had a captive behind there. But yeah, she was responding to the vaccine or to his cure, to whatever he was working on.
In the original, when he realizes, like, oh my god, these things are a society and can think, like, this thing came here for her specifically.
Yes.
He just gives it the vaccine, and if I remember right, they still kill him, no?
The main vamp is like,
Yeah,
I'll call him Corman because, was it Corman?
Oh, Cortman.
Cortman.
Yeah.
I'll call him Cortman because that's
right,
what he's supposed to be. That one vampire that's just fucking annoying the shit out of him. that just wants his blood, just wants him dead. And so then what they do is, he saves her, he gives the body over to him, and basically kind of like kneels at his feet, kind of, but not really, but like, okay, do what you must, but the vampire's like, we cool now. And then next thing you know, you find Will Smith in a car driving off with the girl and the boy. And that was the fucking original ending to that story. Horrible.
Yeah,
just horrible.
Better
the second was better, but, when he just dies, because, that's, always go out in a blaze of fire. That's pretty good, but he didn't really go out. He just kind of like, I'm just standing here. I would have shot some motherfuckers before they took me out, though. Especially that dude gunning for me. I would have just been like, and see, it worked. Or just shot the girl on the table like, pop, fuck you, I'm dying anyway.
See, that one gets a lot of the story elements right. That one gets, he's Robert Neville. He's a scientist in the movie. In the book, he's a scientist by default because what else is he going to do?
Yes.
He just starts reading and
because
learning.
His dad was a scientist, and so he started adopting some of those.
He just starts reading and learning because he's got nothing else to do but sit in his house while they bang on his doors all night. And so, yeah, he's like, he keeps the elements of, like, his routine, because he's definitely got a routine in the book. He's got the things he does every single day. He gets up, he fixes whatever they've damaged on their house, he makes a bunch of steaks, he goes out, he looks for supplies, he kills a bunch of vampires, he comes home and boards himself back up. And does research.
That's all he does, yeah. And the first one, oh man, it's just so boring. They really captured the feeling of isolation. I think they did that well in I Am Legend. See him just going about his day and just doing the same old shit every day.
Will Smith has a very set routine in that movie, and that's, I love the first half of the I Am Legend with Will Smith. The first half, just watching his routine and really seeing like the last man on Earth. I even like the stylistic choice because in the book he's in Los Angeles County, and he was in Los Angeles County in Last Man on Earth and in Omega Man. But in the Will Smith one, they take it to New York, and I like that choice because seeing a man alone on the streets of New York in the middle of the day is terrifying looking. It really gives a better sense of isolation. You can put somebody in LA and just be like, oh, there's just no one around right now. It's whatever. Yeah. But there's never no one around in New York. Yes. So watching him go around the deserted Times Square and stuff, you're just like...
It's haunting.
Yeah, it's freaky. So you get to see his isolation and his routine. And the whole fucking movie falls apart halfway through. It just falls apart when the woman and the kid, when the dog dies, and the woman and the kid show up.
Because they had you with that damn dog dying. I teared up. I was like, tear that motherfucking dog. But what about his dog dying there? Which one is sadder? The dog dying in the movie with I Am Legend because they had that build up and it's like, he had this relationship with this dog. Or the one in the book.
For me, it's the dog in the book.
I think the dog in the book, too, because he had so much hope for that dog.
Yeah.
He really wanted, he tried to coax that dog out, like, come on, I want to be your friend. But he couldn't, because the dog was like, fuck you, you're a vampire.
In the book, he hasn't seen any living things in, like, 2 years. Yeah. And all of a sudden, he's there, and this, like, straggly, mangy, stray dog comes, like, walking up his street, and he's, like, ecstatic. And he's like, oh my god, and it runs away, and he's like, oh, stupid.
He spends
a month or so month
trying to...
Like, he goes and he gets, like, hamburger and milk, and he puts it out on his porch, and he waits, and, like, he just has, like, this waiting game where he's, like, every day he's able to get a little bit closer to the dog, and a little bit closer to the dog, And the whole time you're in his head too, because like he's like always terrified that like, what if one day the dog doesn't come back, or what if one day I go out and I find that the vampires have killed the dog because it was eating from the milk and the meat that I left for it, and he's like going, he's like in his head, he's like, you'll see, boy. You'll see. Yeah. I'll be good to you when you come and live with me. And so it's just like that sad desperation of a man reaching out for any kind of contact. And so when he eventually, like, he loses the dog for a few days, he can't find it, and eventually it comes back and he can tell that the vampires got to it and it's wounded, and he just breaks down, and he takes the wounded dog in his house, and he's, like, trying to care for it, and it's, like, struggling, and, like, nightfall comes, and the dog freaks out, and he realizes the dog is trying to, like, dig itself underground to hide from the vampires.
Concrete, right? Or what?
Yeah, it's just through the floor of his house. He's trying to dig. Because he knows it's nighttime. And basically...
He builds him like a little fort.
Yeah, he builds a little blanket fort, and he sits there, and he's, like, petting the dog, and the dog has never literally let him pet him or anything, and all of a sudden the dog just, like, lays its head down and, like, licks him on the palm. And the next sentence is just like, within a week, the dog was dead.
The dog was dead.
And it's just like, heart-wrenching, because he gave up so much hope for that dog.
After that, because he went on like a little... He was depressed for like a long time.
Yeah, he goes on...
I think he started drinking and everything again, right?
Yeah, because he was doing so well.
Yeah, he was doing so well before.
But it's also lets him like bury his hope. Yeah,
because I think he tried, even after that, or was it after that where he tried to... He's gonna like to let the vampires in, because what I liked about
he was gonna like drink himself,
because he had that human element. Because he talks about the vampire, the seducing vampires, the ones outside trying to coax him in with just them being naked, their bare bodies, and him just thinking.
And he's like, they forced me into celibacy, and like
he's still thinking about it. He's still thinking about sex. He's still thinking about those things and stuff, and it's really bothering him because they do look appeasing to him, And then that one time, remember, he was about to let him in. And I think I wonder if it was after the dog though. Do you remember? One time he had a weak moment where he opened the door, and because they were calling out to him, and he like opened the door and he stood at the door, and then
I thought that was that pretty early in the book? I can't remember.
I think that's pretty early.
Was it pretty early?
Pretty early in the book.
Yeah. Because he has some.
Because I just love it. Just being inside his head. Was like the most. Was it? Just what was he thinking? He was thinking.
Which is one of the things that none of the movie versions have really wanted to do. Because especially with the Will Smith one, like we get his routine and everything, but Neville in the book is not a great man. Yeah, he's really not. Yeah, like he's constantly struggling with base sexual urge because he's got a bunch of naked women outside his house, like making lurid poses, trying to get him to come out. So they can tear him to pieces, and he's even like to do it.
And he's even thinking about these things when he's like, when he goes and finds like a live vampire during the day. He's like, he knows he's asleep, but yet he doesn't say it, but he's like, I want to touch that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He does. He has these just tendencies, and
because he doesn't want to
being the last. Yes, you know what I'm saying. He just wants some type of comfort, some type of interaction with someone, and it's just very, very powerful. But I think it's just because it's literal as opposed to visual. Visual, they just wanted to give you something to look at. And like, look here, watch Will Smith go through here killing stuff. And
which is also why, that's also why in most of the adaptations, he's the hero and the vampires are monsterish looking.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, in I Am Legend, they're like weird CGI vamp zombies.
Vamp zombies,
Like in Omega Man, they were like weird Morlock mutants with like cauliflower on their face.
Yeah.
But in the book, they look like people. Yeah. Like, they're just people with canine teeth.
Yes.
With, like, vampire fangs. And so when he's locked in his house and he's got a bunch of women outside his door, like, they see him through the peephole, so they start, like, playing with themselves, trying to get him to come out. He's just like, willpower, dude. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that came during the time when he was actually drinking, too. So he was really drinking heavily at the beginning of the book and stuff like that. But then when he starts going to the research...
Because he's also still he's still thinking about his dead wife and daughter the whole time, so he's like really in a low place.
Just drinks.
But you watch him go through this whole arc where he's like, he loses it and he almost gets killed, and then he tries to clean himself up, and he does pretty well, and he focuses on the research, and then the dog happens.
Yeah, but you breeze over that, like, he loses it because he went to go see his wife, right, Vivian.
Yeah.
He went to go see Viv, but in
the
movie, what did he do?
Which one?
In I Am Legend, because in Omega, he didn't do any of that shit.
No.
Omega was totally, they were from the story, and they just focused on this other vampire society. They took that other vampire society and made that pivotal point. These other vampires are here, and they want you, and so he's still secluded, but not as much, right?
Yeah, in Omega Man, it was just Charlton Heston going to watch movies in the day and then being like, I better get home before nightfall because the Morlocks are going to come get me. And then it's just this weird technology.
It's like a cult thing.
Yeah, it's like a weird hooded technology shrouded.
Yeah.
Technology shunning, like, mutant race after the nuclear war.
Didn't they wear all black or something?
Yeah, they wore like black hooded
black
cloaks and shit.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god, that just makes me think of another Charlton Heston flick. Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. For some odd reason, I kept thinking about that movie and like this movie, and like The Last Man on Earth and stuff like that. But then Josh like,
which one of those came first?
Which one, Apes or Omega?
The second Apes or Omega?
I think Omega came afterwards.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because I think it was during that thing where
it was the 70s.
Like, oh, let's use Charlton Heston.
Yeah, you couldn't do a post-apocalyptic movie in the 70s without Charlton Heston.
Because he was an earthquake as well. You ever see that one?
Soylent Green.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But yeah, I Am Legend is a fairly close adaptation, but it still missed the entire second half is a clusterfuck that misses the entire point of the book. Well, Omega Man doesn't even really try.
They didn't even try. Exactly. They didn't give a fuck. They're just like, yeah, we're going to make a movie. Chuck Heston's in it. Let's call it a day. We're going to base it on this story, but we're not going to use that story or anything else in that story. We're just going to take that he's alone with vampires.
I didn't get a chance to rewatch it, so I haven't seen it in years, but I remember it being closest.
It very was, yes. Yeah. I agree.
Many, many of the elements, like literally directly from it. Like it's his monotonous day-to-day routine, him just like depressed.
But nobody got the pit. No one did the pit. Why do you think they never like wanted to do the pit where he's just throwing bodies into this ever burning just pit fire? You know?
Well, I know they probably didn't do it in Last Man on Earth just because it was the '60s and they're not going to show him throwing a whole bunch of people in big burning piles.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that's true.
Omega Man just didn't even care that it was based on Last Man on Earth.
Yeah.
Omega Man didn't even care that it was based on I Am Legend. And I Am Legend, I don't know. It
wouldn't have fit.
It was a different location.
Because he was basically taking bodies. Yeah. You know, you find out that he was just taking bodies. He has all these profile pictures on his wall of just all the vampires that he's taking pictures of who have died on this table and stuff.
Yeah,
like
he was taking
basically just work. No, didn't throw them out, discard them.
Yeah. Whereas eventually in the book and in Last Man on Earth, Neville starts taking them to study him, but for months and months and months, he's just going out and killing them.
Yeah, he didn't care.
He just gets up, dowels out a bunch of stakes, and goes and just like has a big map and just like, all right, next block.
Yeah.
And just like comes home with 57 less stakes than he had when he left.
I like the whole thing with the holy water. I like how he's just trying to break down. It's like just trying to like
figure out why every of those vampire things.
Why did these little myths? Why did these things work? Why does the wood work? Why does the holy water work and stuff like that? I love that explanation though with the holy water. Whereas
you mean just the running water?
Yeah, or just running water.
Yeah,
but then holy water.
I don't remember anything with holy water. I just remember running. I just remember running water because he puts the trough down.
Yeah, but the holy water. The thing is, it's supposed to be if they were believers before.
Oh, well, yeah.
That it'll freak them out.
The same thing with the crosses.
Crosses and stuff like that. Yeah. The crossing.
Because he finds out that crosses don't always work on vampires, but the ones it doesn't work on, it was because they weren't Christian. They didn't die hysterically afraid of God.
Yeah.
And so, like, he figured that out when he finally did briefly capture Ben Cortman.
Yes.
And he held a cross up to his face, and Cortman just laughed at him. But
Cortman laughed at him a lot of times, even with that trough, that little running water. He's like, step.
Yeah, he
was mocking him,
and he was like jumping back and forth over it to show that he knows what he's up to.
They were vampires, but they weren't zombies. They weren't just like they still played around with him. They're just like, okay, cool. I'm trying to coax him out of his house.
But yeah,
so like, take off your thingies and shake them in front of him and stuff like that. So that entice him. Yeah, like entice him and stuff like that. So they played with him. They wanted to get him out there. They wanted, and Cortman was just an asshole basically as a vampire.
Throughout all the book and all of Last Man on Earth, there's this one specific vampire named Ben Cortman who used to be his neighbor, who used to ride to work with, who now is always the first one at his house every night, yelling, "Come out, Neville!"
Always same thing,
Neville.
Always come out.
And through the whole book, he's like, "Someday I'm gonna stake that bastard so hard." And it becomes
just annoying. Yeah,
because when it gets to the point where he's not constantly going out and murdering vampires, but he's like studying them, he still makes it a point to go out and look for Cortman because he knows he's got to be in the neighborhood. He's just trying to figure out where the fuck he hides. Yeah. He's like just
because he searched his house like many a time.
He wants to kill that. So he wants to kill Cortman so fucking bad.
I just like to think it's like Homer and Ned. He was a zombie.
Did they have that?
That was a.
With Ned as Cortman.
No, that was a different episode.
Oh, okay.
That was were zombies.
But yeah, so
it's a zombie apocalypse.
Cortman's always fucking with him like all night long, just yelling, "Come out, Neville! Come out, Neville!" And at one point, he figured when he figures out crosses don't work is because he actually manages to capture Cortman and bring him into his house, and he shows him a cross, and Cortman just laughs at him. But then he shows him a Torah, and Cortman freaks out and breaks free of his bonds and shoves him out of the way and like smashes out through the door. And he's like,
"That's why he was able to deduce." He's like,
"That's when he deduces it's not a supernatural thing. It's just a
belief thing.
It was a belief thing. Like there was so much epidemic fear and religious fervour before everyone all died off. Because a big part of the book isn't just what's happening now. It's a lot of flashbacks leading up to how this all happened. There was a war that they talk about, and then which caused a bunch of dust storms and which brought through a bacterial plague and people
maybe
started
chemical warfare.
People started getting sick. He eventually figures out exactly what caused it, but people started getting sick and dying, and they had bodies had to be burned because they were coming back as vampires. So that led to a lot of like yellow journalism and the media like scaring people and a lot of religious fervour at the end. Big congregations like yelling about
that one cult that he happened to find.
He gets pulled into that big Christian revival tent that's like he
immediately got the fuck out of there. He was like, I'm out.
The crazy screaming minister, fear-mongering the fear of God and everyone, and do you want to be as like death, and all this stuff, repent and all this stuff. So all these people who died with religious fervor and fear in their heart, when they did come back, terrified because now they are these black monstrosities they were told they were gonna be. Yeah. Basically, they're afraid of a cross because they think they should be. Yeah. Same thing with like the mirrors. It's a hysterical blindness. So they avoid them because psychologically it's hysterical blindness because they don't want to see themselves like that because they died afraid to be this thing. And they do a whole thing where there's two different kinds of the vampires. There's the ones that are still living with this disease that makes them a vampire and are able to manage it, and then the ones who weren't able to find enough blood and the disease ate them and killed them, and now they're like undead essentially. Yes. So that's the thing.
They're like zombies.
Yeah. Those are the brainless ones who just ramble around. And so he figures out at the end when the girl shows up, this new society is people who are still alive and they're just are living and have managed to live with this disease. They've created medicines that allow them to briefly go out in the sun and fake blood stuff like that, and they're building a new society, and to him, to them, he's the monster, because he indiscriminately finds them, takes them back, experiments on them, stakes them in their sleep. At this point, he's gotten incredibly efficient at killing them. He doesn't even stake them. He'll just drag them out into the sunlight, or
he figured out that sunlight.
He's figured out why. He's figured out all kinds of things, like the reason it has to be a wooden stake and like a bullet won't do it is because their body creates a really adhesive glue. So once a bullet goes in, it's just locked in. But a stake keeps the wound open, and they
can't form it around. Gotcha. The skin can't form around it. It can't form the bond, and so therefore you're dead. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I know. Think about it. Like how far he went into depth about this. It's like,
and now he's gotten even more scientific. Now, like to him, and he's talking about how like he's he doesn't think anything about this is horrific, but when he's talking to the girl at the end of the book, before he knows she's a vampire, which he's all distrustful, and he's like testing her with garlic, and he wants to test her blood. Stuff like that, and he
never did trust her though.
He never did.
Never did.
He's long since lost his hope. Yeah. He's long since abandoned hope. He wanted to trust her, but he never could. He just all he could see was holes in every story.
Every damn story. And like it was so obvious though too. Even for the reader, in my opinion, I'm like, oh yeah, this bitch lying. And I was like, I did not believe for 1 second that she was like some cured person, like just come out of nowhere to. Or just some unaffected person who just hid away from everything. Because either you would have died or he would have found you already.
Yeah, yeah, and so to them he's the monster because he's like he even tells her, you know, he's figured out he's basically got this vampire killing thing on lock. He's really good at it. Yeah, when he finds them, he doesn't even stake them anymore. He just cuts their wrists so deep that the glue can't form. So
he's doing he's a very
precise way.
So like so to them it's the thing where it's like you get up the next morning to find that your friend. Neville got him in his sleep, and
it's sort of like
everyone just found him with his wrists cut dead in his sleep.
They did kind of take that for I Am Legend, though, that because they were their own society and stuff like that. They were kind of weird,
they were like
vampires, but yet they knew that he was messing with them. You know what I'm saying? But do you like the fact that they finally got back into his ass? Like, I don't know, there's something about the second half. Yes, it was ridiculous and stuff like that. The story falls apart. However, when they start fucking with him and Trent...
Okay, yeah, that was good.
When they start messing with him, I don't know if it was the performance or the act thereof, but it was beautiful. Yeah. When they took Trent and put him outside, it's like... Because he was so used to everything being in his place. Mm-hmm. So when this thing was out of place, Trent was that mannequin, you remember?
I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, you're not talking to you. Okay.
What's Trent? What are you doing?
He's populated the places he goes for.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mannequins.
Yeah, it was mannequins.
And so at one point he's driving and he's like zooms past.
And Trent's just driving out the side.
Yeah, I've seen that part. Okay.
Like City Hall or something like that, right?
Yeah, he's just standing in an alleyway and I ain't playing with you, Trent. What are you doing out here?
I don't know. They got that isolation part so right. With that movie, even when he meets the girl, they got the breakfast thing because he makes her breakfast, right? Or she makes him breakfast in the book. Right after that first night, or does he make her breakfast?
I don't think they do anything in the book. I think
no, didn't
they? I don't know. I got the audiobook and it's got like half an hour shorter than the unabridged, so there might be little things like the whole
maybe
not in there.
But when she cooks his bacon, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, wow, I think they did it right, like, just the whole isolation, what it does to your mind and stuff like that, but, it does fall apart, but I just like that part. I like
that's the trick.
And the dog,
Yeah, that's the trick. That's the trick what makes it so much harder in the book of I Am Legend is, like, he really doesn't know. In the movie... Yeah. Well, she's not a weird CGI vamp. These are clearly two humans.
Yeah, two humans. Yeah,
like now it's just like how do I not be alone after being alone? Yeah. In the book, he's like, I don't
want to accept this. Even after at the beginning of the book where he's just like, I need human contact. I need something. He needs that comfort.
Well, he needs something. He
needs to know. But then he got to the point where he just gave up, and so he can't believe that this chick is out there. It goes to the point where he's just like, he stops everything. He stops shaving. He stops like taking care of himself.
Well, no, it's not that he stops taking care of himself. It's that he's just adjusted because he gets to that point where after all the stuff's said and done with the dog, and he falls into a hole, and he figures out everything about the vampires. They're just like that kind of cut to it's been 3 years now. Yeah. He's just sitting in a field smoking a pipe, and he's just adjusted to this life now. He's got a long beard. He's
accepted it.
He's in a he's got a comfortable hermit routine, so he's got a decent body build, and he's just sitting in a
because he's working, right? He's like building shit and stuff like that, taking care of the house.
Yeah. He's just accepted the routine of like get up, make some food, fix the house, go out, come back, go to bed. Mm-hmm. And so he's just like, when he sees he just sees this little speck in a field, and he's like, when he realizes it's a person, he just loses his shit, and he like chases her down across the field, and she bolts.
Oh, yeah.
Because he got this long ass beard and shit now, too. So he looks like just this
he ends up like tackling her and
like
shit.
Beast.
Yeah.
The nomad man.
And from her point of view, since she's basically a spy for the vampire, she's just like, oh shit!
Like, I didn't sign up for this! But he's too fast.
The monster of our nightmares is now chasing me across the field.
Exactly, yeah. She was probably brought up on that it's like, this person's evil. He killed your mother and father and stuff. But I wonder if, they never tied it together on whatever happened to her husband. Because I believe that story is real, but maybe he did.
In the audiobook, they said that. They said in the book.
Kill her?
When she leaves him, and she like knocks him out. When she finds out she's got like her blood tested, and he's gonna see, she's like hits him with a pan. And he's like, I wish you hadn't looked.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and there's a note, and she basically explains their society and all this stuff, but she tells him that, you know, once she'd been here with him for a day, you know, and she understood him better and why he was the way he was, she just couldn't hate him anymore.
Oh,
she did love him.
Yeah.
She loved him, and she was going to go tell them, you know, don't attack. She's like, please, Robert, like, take what you have and leave. I'll tell them you're too well-armed for us to attack right now. Just go. And she's like, the truth was, I did have a husband, Robert. You killed him.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I remember that now. Okay.
But I don't hate you for it, and like, you know, because I understand why what made you the way you are.
Yeah.
And
it's like, very poignant.
especially for being from like 1954 or whatever. Just like,
it goes deep into that. I just love it. Just how descriptive he went to, like, just trying to figure out who these vampires were and what they were.
The scientific vampire.
Yeah, he's I'm just alone. And he was just alone. But yeah, I think in that first hour, I Am Legend had it right. Omega Man. So you can just totally skip over there. It's like X3 or Wolverine Origins. They don't exist in this pantheon of like, or in the structure of this story of telling this story. It's like, that's just totally stupid. And those two movies were too. So why do that? Why bother with it? You know?
That's the kind of like, what's it called? You can just skip the new Carrie. You can just watch the old Carrie again.
Yeah, no, yeah. Oh.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I literally, I did it on purpose.
Star Wars.
I did it on purpose when I sat there and I watched Carrie, and then I went and watched the movie. I'm like, goodness fucking gracious. Like, what the fuck did y'all do to this film?
Now, you watched it more recently, so I don't remember how Last Man on Earth ends.
Yes.
How does it...
Can't remember.
I do remember that it wasn't...
How far did I get?
It wasn't
I fell
him.
asleep, possibly. But no, I was watching it.
I know that it wasn't him getting captured by the new society and executed and
No.
and accepting his fate as the new monster. But yeah, see, that's a perfect example of, it's like, why is that book? Why does it seem like that's?
Why is it so hard to adapt?
Yeah, why
get
is it
it
so
right?
hard to adapt? Maybe it's because if you did it correctly, it would just
boring.
it would just be a dude in his house for. No, see, I don't believe
They
that.
did the first part with the I Am Legend.
Yeah,
It was powerful enough. Even when he loses the dog, they could have went on with him being alone and not bring that whole vampire thing. Those vampires messing with him into it.
Well, no, that would have been fine, but not just the weird the woman and the kid showing
It's
up.
when you bring in the woman and the kid, I think that's when.
But the woman could have showed up just how they did in the book.
Yeah,
Because right after he loses the dog, and then this woman shows, then you just show a period of time where he grows a beard or something like that, maybe, and then,
yeah. Like, what if they'd gone the different way? Like, the woman shows up. Fuck the kid. There's no kid.
Yeah, no kid, no fuck.
The woman shows up, but as they're together, maybe he starts to get a hint that she might be infected.
Yeah, or something.
And he just can't trust it.
Yeah.
Like something like that. And do that
And
instead.
then, because wouldn't that ending be a little bit better? Like, because then, she's like a mole, right? And then all of a sudden, because the ending of the book has all these fucking people coming in, attacking this town where he's around and stuff like that, and killing off the other vampires, the vampires that he knows, that come around the house and stuff like that, and even Corbett.
They find Corbett and he's so pissed about that.
And he feels bad because he wanted to kill him.
Yeah,
So he starts feeling bad for Corbett because he doesn't want him to die like that. He wants it to be there with his hands.
Yeah,
by his hands.
This big
and so it really upsets him.
Squad of living vampires just rolls into his town and starts killing all the other vampires around him, looking for him, and because they're killing the dead ones.
And they did kind of do it in the
ones
book.
who succumb to the germs. So these are ones who are humans who are living with the vampirism, and they're killing the ones that are just bloodthirsty
They
animals.
did it in the movie where these people, the vampires came, but what if these other people had equal weapons? Because that's what they did. They had guns and shit like that. And so with Will Smith's arsenal, shit, you could have made that an epic fucking ending. That's all I'm saying. And it ends with him being captured. You know what I'm saying? He wakes up like in a kind of Jesus type, the type thing where he's like on a stake or something like that. He's about to die and he starts realizing this shit. Like, what's wrong with him because he has people down there, all these people looking up at him like all afraid and stuff like that. He flinches and so they like freak out and shit. You see, you gotta have the one shot of the little baby, or like holding the mom, holding the baby or the child, and she's like hides her face in her mother's bosom or something like that. You gotta have that, and then you know that oh shit, he's the monster, not them. But he is they fucked up. They could have did it so right.
What I thought is one of the reasons is because you have these CGI monster-like creatures. They they should have made them more human-like. You know?
They're just more monster.
Make it more,
You
realistic
believe,
to the folk,
because I know people who watch I Am Legend the movie and they'll argue that it doesn't seem like the vampires have any kind of like thought or society. Like yes they do. They clearly leave a trap for him.
Like you didn't get that. You couldn't put two and two together.
They clearly leave a trap for him, and like the one vampire is clearly like, come on, we finally found out where he lives. Yeah, go get him. Basically.
But even then, like, it's very animalistic, though. I mean,
they are,
still leave traps and stuff, It's just, they seem too animalistic to be this whole society capturing.
They'd be more like a hive, society.
I can see that because they huddle like that in the hive, too, when they sleep. They're all together, but they're all standing up and just panting and breathing when you're walking through them and stuff. Yeah. That's it. So they did have some creepy elements, and so that's why you have to think, like, a lot of that shit was visual. They just wanted to make it more appealing to the audience, to cater to their audience, and that was
to me,
the movie-going audience.
To me, it's scarier to be in the guy's mind.
To be in the motherfuckers, like Memento and stuff like that. Just getting this.
Especially the beginning of the movie before he soundproofs the house, where it's just him in there, just hearing him like pound on the doors and hearing Courtney calling out, and him trying to like put on music to drown it out because he. But he's drinking so much that every day he never bothers to get around to soundproofing the house. Yeah, and stuff like that. Like, to me, that's scarier.
Just hearing this, like, because I think it's psychological, I think, and I think you could probably fuck with the audience that way as well, and just mess with their brain, because by the time you see him suffering, it's like, maybe you're getting tired of it too. And so, you see how it's affecting him, and I think as just moviegoers, it would probably affect you as well. Like, this is fucking annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does he keep saying it? Why did he keep doing that and stuff? And then then he starts staking them or getting up and stuff. I don't know. It gives you some reprieve, some release. I don't know. I think that it would have worked as far as the movie is concerned, if they did it right. But but I like the isolation part of it. They have that shit right.
It's ironic, but if you actually look at it, it's ironic, but one of the closest adaptations to I Am Legend is actually George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, really?
If you really think about it.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's true.
Because most of the movie's set inside the house.
Yes.
And it's them. It's more than one person, but it's them.
Have I seen that movie?
Night of the Living Dead?
Dude,
I'm going to be disappointed if you
should just watch it on YouTube. It's public domain.
Yeah.
Like, it comes in every horror pack.
You've probably seen it, you just can't remember it.
But yeah, it's
in the house?
Bunch of people in a cabin while zombies. And they occasionally have to go out and forage, but it's set. Yeah. The horror is the fact that you're inside the house knowing these things are all around outside you. And you're just like, man, we can't go out there. And like, what are we going to do? We don't have anything in here. And so, from that aspect, it was... And it's obvious that's... When Romero says he borrowed a lot of... I Am Legend was the inspiration, you can definitely see it. Yeah. Because the horror comes from the isolation of being trapped inside there while the world is all chaos outside around you. Interesting. Even to the point of it ends the same way the Book of I Am Legend ends. Humans roll in and clear out all the zombies. Huh. Yeah. And then kill the black guy.
Yeah. God damn it.
Hey.
What, just cause?
Well...
Oh, sorry.
In the cast...
That's a race thing. You don't look like the others.
The cast of characters that get stuck in the house...
whitewashing the world.
There's one black guy, and he's clearly the smartest one of all. Yeah. He's the one telling them that he's in charge in this house and sit down and shut the hell up.
He's the most sane. He's the smartest guy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So the whole movie, the black guy's in charge, and he's telling them all, sit down and shut the hell up. Like, you want to stay in here with me, then you listen to what I say, mister, and all this shit. Yeah. And the white guy is just, like, not happy with that. And it's because it's 1968?
Yeah.
67 or 68?
He wasn't vibing with that shit.
So one by one, for other reasons, all these other survivors get picked off. And it's down to just the black guy alone. He's the last survivor, not yet a zombie in the house. And he survives the night, and in the morning he's awakened by the sound of gunfire. And you see that, like, the local militia or the local, sheriff's department or whatever are combing through the fields with dogs and rifles, and they're taking out all the zombies that they can see. And he, like, gets up and he gets out of the basement, and he, like, hears the gunfire and hears all the shouts and everything like that. And he goes and he looks up through the window, and one of the guys is like, "There's one!" And they just shoot him through the window.
Oh.
Yep.
That's depressing.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
It's too far away to tell.
No, that sucks.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
It's downer ending, but
that's cool. But yeah,
that's why it was independently released.
That's damn. That's damn good right there.
Yeah.
People don't end movies like that. That's just real. You see something move, kill it. So they can't be alive, you know? Yep. So like Neville
they see the black dude stick his head up, they assume, oh, there's no way there's no way he survived tonight. That's gotta be one of them things, pal. You could read whatever you want into it. I always read that it was 1968, and had it been a white guy, they might have investigated.
Oh yeah.
But just the black dude pops his head up and is like, "Oh, no black dude could have survived that."
Yeah,
pal.
Oh, that's totally true. Yeah.
But it is, it's like 1968, so it's kind of groundbreaking to watch the black character just be like, "Now you sit down and shut the hell up. Like you want to stay in here? You
not too groundbreaking because you did have Sidney Poitier.
True.
Telling people white people do what I'm saying. That was funny. I don't know.
They call me Mr.
Just
actually,
that line, man.
I've always credited Romero for that because that's the classic horror stereotype that the black guy always dies first, but not in Romero's zombie movies.
Yeah.
No.
In Romero's zombie movies, the black guy always usually says that is one of the last survivors.
Oh man, I can't remember. I read an article, something about that stuff.
In Dawn of the Dead, the last two people
to
get out of the mall is the black National Guardsman and the pregnant white chick.
Yeah.
They escape on the helicopter. In Day of the Dead, it's the main female character and the Jamaican chopper pilot. They escape to an island at the end.
Yeah.
Even in his newer ones, like there's no main black character in Land of the Dead, but the main zombie that evolves and learns to use guns and leads the zombies against the humans is a black guy.
Yeah, I think I remember them talking about that as well. Yeah. That's interesting.
Romero was never the one who killed off the black guy first.
Yeah,
I was like, good for you.
Yeah, I did read an article about that. I think it's back when maybe Land of the Dead was coming out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he casted a black dude in the role, alright? And it was written that he survives. Cool. I don't know.
The zombie that learns to use guns. I had a friend of mine who didn't like that. Didn't like the evolving zombies. And I was like, but they've always done that in Romero's. That was always their thing.
Really?
Yeah.
They just learn.
Well, not even that they learn, is that, like, Romero zombies are different than a lot because even in the first ones, they can still think enough to use rudimentary stuff. Yeah, I look at Dawn of the Dead. You still see them occasionally like pick up a rock to like smash a window or things like that. So they still kind of remember enough to like basic functions.
And then Day of the Dead,
and Day of the Dead, the whole thing is the scientist is trying to train the zombie by trying to get it to remember things from its life, and he's got his like prize pupil zombie Bub, who like when presented with a phone attempts to dial it, when presented with a razor attempts to shave, when presented with a gun attempts to kill the bad guy in the movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, even though the gun's empty. he attempts to kill the colonel character that's been like torturing him.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. Never looked at that. I never really was a zombie fan of zombie movies.
You cut to however many.
At least watch the Romero ones, you know.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Yeah. Then cut to however many years Land of the Dead is when they've actually got like their city rebuilt. It's not out of the way to think that the zombies.
That wasn't modern, right? That's like because they did do that Zack Snyder one. Did they come out with another one after?
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead. That was like a remake.
The Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead was a remake of the original, but it also had its own Day of the Dead remake sequel.
Oh, that was.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay,
that was like.
It wasn't like Land or anything. It was Day.
No, Land of the Dead was George Romero's first zombie movie in like 25 years.
Oh, okay. When did that come out? It was
like 2004. Really? He hadn't done anything since like 19. He had Day of the Dead was like 1984. Something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 83, 84. So he went back to that same zombie universe 20 years later.
Gotcha.
And then he cranked out a couple more, which aren't very good.
Oh, yeah.
Diary of the Dead is...
I see, a lot of those were indies, right?
I didn't much...
Diary of the Dead is alright.
So a lot of those were indie films? Independent films?
Yeah.
But they released some mainstream?
Romero's got enough clout still that he can get a zombie movie and kind of...
In most theaters?
Not maybe not the theaters, but it's at least got a decent budget. He tapered off with Diary of the Dead because it was a retelling of the Dawn of the Dead origin, or the Night of the Living Dead's origin. It was set the first night when the zombies was happening. But it was done as found footage. It was a bunch of college kids recording it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he caved in and did a found footage zombie movie. But I'll still give him credit because Romero is the king of killing zombies.
Yeah.
So it has some really great zombie kills, like they're fighting a zombie in a hospital and someone takes a defibrillator and puts it on both sides of the zombie's head and its eyes explode.
Nice.
And it has my absolute favorite ever, like, killing yourself so you don't become a zombie moment.
Oh, shit.
They meet this mute Amish guy, and he takes them into their barn because they're trying to fix their RV, help them fix their RV. So he like they're coming down out of their RV, and they come up to a barn, and this Amish guy comes running out, and he's like, "Ah!" and pointing behind him, and they all look, and there's zombies coming down out of the forest. And the camera looks back over, and the Amish guy runs into his barn, comes back out and throws a stick of dynamite, blows up all the zombies, and then holds up a little chalkboard around his neck that says, "Hi, I'm Samuel." So they hang out with the Amish guy for a little bit in the movie, and he helps them fix their van, but a zombie gets into the barn without them noticing, and it comes up and it like just comes out of nowhere and it bites the Amish guy on the back of the neck. So instead of let himself turn into one of them, he takes his big old wheat scythe and just sinks it through the front of his own head into the zombie's head behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And they both just drop. And I was like, that was gangster. It's the ultimate, like, I'll kill myself before I'll become one of those things move.
Never. Yeah, I don't know. So,
but yeah.
You know what? Talking about the zombie ones. I'm missing I want to see more vampire post-apocalyptic movies.
Why?
I don't know. I just think...
You think there's a story there? There's...
Well, I Am Legend.
Breath? Oh, yeah, but that's the only fucking one.
Yeah. I know, but you can try something. I'm trying to think of, like, any others, and I can't.
No, you can't.
You know? It's like, give it a chance.
They don't have anything. Mm-hmm. Nothing pre-existing, so maybe it's a new concept to...
Give it something. Werewolf apocalypse.
No, fuck that. I don't know. Where was this on it?
Mummy apocalypse.
Yeah.
Really? We go to Egypt.
Fine, smart movies.
It's all gotta be... It has to be based on country, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I think I Am Legend
worked... In Egypt, you have mummies.
Troll
Romania.
I Am Legend worked as a vampire apocalypse because it was the first. I mean, it predated even the zombie apocalypse, the modern zombie apocalypse concept. They borrowed that for that. It's just the idea of like an awesome, like, bacterial plague that starts turning people into vampires.
Lycanthropy. There we go. That's a disease. At least in D&D it is.
I even liked in the book how he started theorizing that perhaps in the past all those like big past things like the Black Death might have been
had a hand in
might
and
have
stuff
had,
like that.
had to do just like a smaller version of what happened here. Mm-hmm. Now that it's like worldwide.
Yeah, it's just the science of it. I was wondering how much like
it gives so much time to think about it. Yeah. I like how a lot of it's his theories, but it's the best he could work out in 3
I'm talking about
3 years.
Matheson was like, how did he come up with this? Like, what if he has a scientific background or a background in science?
He must have because the stuff he talks about. The stuff he talks about,
style shit right there.
Yeah, the things he talks about, like bacterial sporulation, is correct.
Yes,
and things like that.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, sci-fi and horror in that era, it's really quite amazing. Like, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, fucking terrifying book, and it's like, how did he come up with this?
What's that?
Sounds familiar.
Okay, it's the one where it's an AI who pretty much destroyed the world, but he kept 5 people alive. Just to torture them.
Oh, shit.
Just to torture them. And it's just a really fucked up one, and I do not want to spoil it for you.
Sounds like Human Centipede.
Ew.
Well, there's no so many. They actually made a really good computer game out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
So he just keeps those people alive
just to torture them.
That was a book?
And it's a book.
Was it a short book?
It's a shortish story. I got like it's in a collection. So it's from, I can't remember who the author is. It's gonna bug me because I love his work.
Harlan Ellison?
Yeah, Harlan Ellison. There we go.
I thought so because part of that was taken. Part of that and a couple other things were taken for the concept for Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Uh-huh. Cameron borrowed from. Oh, there's another Harlan Ellison as well as a head and mouth. But yeah,
I'm trying to think what else.
The AI taking over thing was Skynet, and the other one the other one had time travel.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was the AI a physical, like a robot type thing, or was it just a computer system?
It was a computer system. Like,
they
describe it as being like a fleshy, like it's kind of like the monolith from 2001.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like that, but fleshy.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. So it's just this thing.
Yeah.
That's out there. Oh, right, just controlling everything and shit. Oh. Did like in the 60 version movie, did like glow?
No, they never.
Like when it talks, it's like a crystal rock thing. It's just glow like a certain color.
For it, sadly. No movie.
Interesting.
It's
Could
kind
you
of,
do that?
Isn't?
Oh my god,
it's possible.
It'd be fucking creepy as fuck.
Right. If you did it right.
It's a weird. It's very dark.
We'll cut this out. We should do that.
Yeah.
Oh no, you gotta get the rights to it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what we could.
I would think it would be better to just keep it as a book though. Because that way it's all in your mind and you keep
it
in your mind and you visualize it.
Yeah, but nowadays
they made a game of it.
Come on. But yeah, they did it horribly. You know, they got some parts right, but they haven't just
A Boy and His Dog, he wrote that one also. That's the one where it's a post-apocalyptic world, where it's a man and his telekinetic dog. It's kind of like one of the bases of Mad Max, kind of.
But yeah, you know, you're never going to adapt it, but yeah, you can only come so close, I guess. You know, you're not going to really do it perfectly, but yeah, they had 3 tries.
Yeah.
2, if you just want to count those.
3rd time's the charm, yeah.
But yeah, you know, I do recommend, like, instead of like, what the audiobook, man, listen to the audiobook.
Yeah.
I just, for some odd reason, I can just picture everything that this dude was describing, you know.
Yeah,
sometimes you get lost in the book. You know, because sometimes, you know, just with words and keeping up, you know, just with...
Yeah, that BBC audio
Take yourself, man. Yeah,
that's
right?
That's how I've been listening to is having got caught back up on it was the BBC audiobook. It is abridged here, but I found it, it's like 4.5 hours long, and the unabridged version is like 4 hours and 58 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're
not
missing
too much, no.
a lot, and you still get the main points of the story, and the narrator's really good.
He really is, right?
Yeah, you really feel like you're there with him, just like alone and
Neville.
afraid. You feel his sadness, you feel his anger.
Yeah.
Man, you feel his anger.
Yeah, because he has to, he gets all raspy, his voice gets raspy, he gets low, and it's just, you know, you're in this guy's head, and it's, oh man, it's good. When he's trying to describe something, when he gets frustrated, when he can't figure out something, God damn it! And
like the part in the beginning when he goes out and he goes and he does all those errands and stuff like that, and he goes and he gets the tomato juice and does all that stuff, and then he goes and he waits at the grave and stuff, and then he goes back and sees that vampire that he had dragged out. And then he like looks at his watch again and realizes that it's still 3 o'clock.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that was powerful. But he's like,
and then he forgot to wind his watch.
Yeah.
And he's like...
It's so like the movie, oh man, see it, God damn it.
So yeah, he's just like, you stupid. All those things you did to try and stay alive. And
it was all about the inner monologue, man.
And he's like rushing back, he's like speeding his station wagon back to his house before it gets dark. But they're just waiting for him in the street. Streets already.
When I was reading that part, my heart was pounding.
Really? Yeah. It is intense.
I was like, oh my god.
Because you thought, oh shit, what's gonna happen to this dude? But yeah, he's able to fight them all, but you know, did they get in the garage? Did they get into the house? What did they do? You know, because he breaks down, you know, he says that it's all in his head, but he's saying it. He's thinking it to himself, like, I gotta get this, I gotta get that. And, oh man, it's a good book. You know, listen to the audiobook. That's one I do recommend.
Yeah, the narrator for the
Audible
is really good.
You know, you can always download from somewhere. You're not gonna pay me. I'm not gonna say it. No, but I used to get Audible.com. I used to get my stuff off there. But seriously, get that book if you can. It's good. Yeah, I recommend that. Take it in that way. If you don't want to read it, well, read it. Take it in somehow. You know, don't just rely on the movie.
Yeah.
You know, the movie doesn't explain it all. Get into the depth of that is Robert Neville. You know, the last man on Earth, supposedly.
Watch the first half of
the legend
movie,
himself.
You know, and then read the rest from the book.
Yes. You can watch the first half of the book, the Will Smith version.
Yeah.
Or just go back and watch the old. It's on YouTube for free. You know, it's just like public domain now or whatever.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it is. No, that's why I took it in this last time.
Yeah, it's that.
Before I download, I got it from Netflix. You know, when I was in my Netflix, and I was just like, every movie I can.
You know, when you think about it too, it's kind of funny. Like Robert Neville, if you look at the 3 different actors who've played him, you got Vincent Price, Charlton Heston, and Will Smith. Robert Neville really is legend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
Wow.
On the high note. Well, Jerry.
I'm Bree.
This is Josh.
And this is Chris Ruppel. Stay gold.
And that's a wrap, but not a burrito, bitches. No, just kidding. Sorry. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna do it. I'll probably leave out the bitches part, but I like that's a wrap, but not a burrito.
I like that.
Ah, damn it! Finally, something comes organically.